LST works really good with let's stop takeovers. I don't know if you've thought about that yet, but I'm
Hey,
just saying
that's good.
you might sell T-shirts where it says let's stop takeovers, raise a little bit of money, and we'll pad the legal fund. But
Yo, what up, C10 Nation? This is Ronnie from C10 Talk. C10 Talk is one of those podcast things. We talk C10 trucks, tech, and people. That's right, people. Because it's the people that make the scene so rad-ass. The trucks are cool, but the people are cooler. You can check out the podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, C10Talk.com, and anywhere else you listen to your favorite podcasts. Thanks for checking out our latest video and being part of the C10 Nation. What's up, C10 Nation? Hey, guys. Another fun Monday going live and let everybody come in. But I thought that it would be good to chat a little bit about what's going on in Texas, obviously. So LST, those guys, I kind of thought that it was BS as well. And then as you see more posts and you see more things, you're like, nah, okay, this isn't BS. So we're going to bring in Lonnie, and we're going to bring in Radar, and we're going to bring in Jared, and we're going to chat a little bit about it. And hopefully, at the end of the day, we have a lot of shows that we go to. I don't necessarily think it's C10 guys or classic truck guys, whereas it's probably a little bit more younger kids. And I hate to kind of just blanket that because I think we're all young kids having fun. So it'll be interesting. I did talk to the three of them. They're going to come on. We're going to do live, and I think I can have 3 or 4 live at the same time. So we'll see how that goes because I haven't done 3 or 4. I haven't had a 3-way or a 4-way before on Instagram. I've only had a one-on-one. I was monogamous before this. Okay, so we're going to get the boys in. And then if you guys want to come in, hit me up. I know we've got some different guys coming in too, so we'll kind of see how that all shakes out. All right? Now, another thing that we're going to do is we are going to take this and we are going to, what up, buddy? And we're going to be able to harvest this. So we'll take this video, we'll put it out to the YouTubes, and we'll take the audio and we'll make a pod as well. So hopefully Texas Show Promoters comes on. I reached out to those guys and tagged them a few times, and we can just kind of see what we can do because it's not fake. The guys are meeting with Department of Homeland Security is what I got on Wednesday, and we'll see what happens. Okay, so let me find the boys here. I think I got Lonnie. I think he's coming in as LST. Coming in here. Let's see if I have to do accept. Come on, Radar, where are you at? Okay, let's see. All right, I think we got Radar. What up, Radar?
How's it going?
You got it high. Okay, there you go. Okay.
I'm a little
buddy.
short. You.
Yeah. Lower that down. All right, so I haven't been more. Let me see if I can get Jared in. Let's see what it does, and then I'm also going to try to get Lonnie in here. Let's see if it brings everybody in at the same time. Awesome. It looks. Oh shit! There's Papa Smurf.
Damn! Look at those ugly mugs.
Whoa! That is a good. I gotta screenshot that. Look at that. Now this is my first 4-way. Now the only thing is yeah, I got nothing going on here. I got.
Give
no
it time.
Hair.
You got to wear that SCBA all the time. So
oh my God, give me a couple more years and I can get that. Look at Lonnie. Yeah, that thing is just gorgeous. Yeah,
you made me take a shower and try to get all pretty.
I can smell how good you smell from here, and I'm what are we? I think we're at least 13 or 14. I can't. Obviously, I've driven it 6 times, so I know. But you're I can smell you. Your eau de toilette smells pretty damn good. Okay, so hey, first and foremost, Lonnie was giving me a lot of crap. He's like, dude, I'm gonna pop my C10 Talk cherry. So I'm glad that we could do this, and now we're also popping the 4 dudes 1 Instagram live cherry. I think I never know with Radar. I never know what goes on with those Dodge guys. So I'm just throwing that out there.
I'm just sitting here being good.
All right. Well, you guys want to jump right into it? You want to chat because before we get into what I would consider the negative, I just want to tell you guys that I feel like I have a little bit of a pulse on the world, and everybody an awesome LST. I hope you guys know that. The weather was awesome, and everybody was like, this was my favorite LST. This was one of the best LSTs. The weather was good. The people were good. The trucks were good. So obviously it is a shitty thing a few days later, but I hope you do realize that everything that I was hearing was just nothing but the best LST like ever. Like I think Grinder said on his podcast, he goes, it was my favorite LST that he's ever been to.
Well,
Yeah,
we think it's pretty good too.
We're pretty thankful. You know, even like I said in a couple of my posts, if this was the last one, I'm okay with it, because it was definitely our biggest, our best one, I would say. It was completely awesome. I was blown away. Couldn't be more thankful for the people that we had at the event, and also how hard our staff worked.
Yeah, I second that. I mean, it was a great show. Ran smoothly, no big issues, a couple of medic calls, but I mean, when you got that many people in one spot, it's inevitable to have something happen, but to just have a few Band-Aid calls, we were blessed. Quality of rides that were there, quality of the vendors. I mean, top to bottom, it was an awesome show. The gut punch was that we don't get to enjoy the show until after we've cleaned the park. And we got our first phone call Monday morning before we ever left the park. So, we haven't even been able to bask in the afterglow of a great show. So I think that's more of a kick in the pants than anything. We haven't had a chance to sit back and say, man, we pulled off a good show.
Yeah, well, and that's why I really want to say that what I've heard from the people that I talked to, the people that were there, Seth from Switch, obviously Grinder, John Oro, again, Johnny G from Yee Yee Garage. The guys I talked to, especially some of the AZ guys, they were just like, hey, it was an absolute phenomenal show. The funny thing about LST for the Arizona guys is when you go, even if the show, let's say the show wasn't the greatest from the weather perspective, the journey never disappoints. Because I think even Grinder was saying, or Frank was saying, like, well, sometimes it's not even about the show. Like the year everybody froze to death, they were like, dude, it didn't even matter, because through that shitty experience, we were huddled up and we did things and we became closer and we talked and we stayed at our VRBO or Airbnb or hotel. So guys are always going to make, and girls, they're going to make the best of it. So I just think you guys should know that. And I think also to hear Lonnie kind of say, like, if this is the last, I'm okay with it. I got to think that there's a plan B and a plan C and a plan D, because you just can't have this go away.
Hopefully the county's got a plan for us. This guy we speak with Wednesday, I mean, that's our only hope right now, is see what he says, and maybe he's got an angle we don't know about.
Will it help if there's 400 letters that are on letterhead that are written that say, I go to this show, I support this show, the show's putting heads in beds.
I think
this show, I'm going to Saltgrass every night. I'm spending money.
It definitely helps. I mean, just like I told the boys, they could take these folders that we have with all these letters and throw them in the trash. But at the end of the day, I have to leave that, this is what I want to get out of it. I want to be in a meeting with them and tell them who we are. And if at the end of it, they don't want us there, I'm okay with it. And I can leave there holding my head up high, knowing that I did everything that I could to keep it there, because I just don't feel like a few bad apples should dictate what we as a whole have built. Because I will say built, because we started this thing, Todd and I started this thing, not expecting anything. It was hard to even get people to go to the show. And then you watch this thing start as a child and look to where it is now. If you would have told me 12 years ago that Todd and I would be spending $500,000 to put on a show, I would have told you that you're crazy, and I would never do that. But here we are.
When we started getting vendors, it's like, how much space do you want? well, you know, I need X. Well, we can give you as much as you need. We got plenty of space. We'll never fill this place up. Well, it far exceeded what we ever thought we were ever going to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, you know, I remember the 1 year, I think it was 2,500 trucks, and you guys were like, hey, we got to scale this thing back because they're jammed up jelly tight in here, so we're going to cap it like 2,000, and to see that grow. So it is crazy, and I want to hit this a few times for people as they come in and come out, and we'll post it up as well. But where would they send a letter? So let's say I want to put an email together, and again, I think that they're going to get a folder, you know, that's that big, and again, if you turn that in, I think that they're probably not going to go through them all, but it shows that the community is behind the show, and a few bad apples. You know, I think of the Scooby-Doo. You know, oh, those meddly kids. So there's obviously a certain group of people that are going to ruin this for a lot of people, and they need to understand that.
Well, any letters of support that people want to send, if we're going to put it out on the pod, just use the Lone Star Throwdown at yahoo.com. That's the easiest for people to remember. We all have access to that account. We'll fetch any letters of support that you guys send. We're going to fetch it. We're going to print them, and we're going to present them. All that we can do, like Lonnie said, is we're going to put together a good presentation. They may throw it in the trash can afterwards, but at least when we walk away, we're going to say that we did everything we could to get our point across and to save the show. The show means a lot to me too, even though these two guys started it. It's like my stepchild. I don't want it to go away either. And I'll go down fighting right beside them until the end.
And it's crazy the amount of people that have reached out to just me alone. I'm sure Lonnie and Jared has had the same. It's absolutely, it's awesome. And it makes what we're doing worthwhile, you know, the long days, long nights, and all that. But yeah, it's been absolutely awesome. And I'm, like Jared said, we were going to try to go down and talk them back into this thing. So.
Yeah. And I think Thomas, a lot of people, you know, want to know what happened. And in a nutshell, nothing happened at the event. The event went smoothly. To sit here and say that we had almost 30,000 spectators, that is crazy. I mean, for me to even fathom that is a lot of times I don't get to get outside of the event. And Saturday, I had one of the officers take me to some of the parking lot issues that we had. And when I went out there, I mean, people were parking on the loop in town. So to get to see that was amazing for me. And also goes back to the staff that we have in place, the officers that we have working the show. We grow with the show. We make changes as we go along. So nothing happened at the event. The things that are out of our control, that is having our contract pulled from us, is the after meets, the after parties, the takeovers, whatever you want to call them. I'm not saying that it's wrong to go meet in a parking lot. I'm not saying that.
We all grew up doing it.
We have all done it our whole lives. I mean, but it's the body cam footage that I was able to see from some of these officers made me mad. It kind of upset me a little bit because the lawlessness on some of these people. I want to say jackasses, but I don't know if I can say that on here. But seeing the disrespect, the destruction of someone's business's property was astonishing. And then that's where this lies. It was the stealing of stop signs. They stole the handicap mobility carts at Kroger. Not only the burnouts, it's not really solely the burnouts. It's burnouts, and they were running through the landscaping at these businesses as they're doing a burnout. But you look at some of them, and I get that the outside, the community, when they look at it as a whole, they think they're there because of us, which I get, but they're not. When I scoured through all of the videos, we only found 3 to 4 that had registrations that were doing stupid stuff. the majority of it was people that did not have wristbands on, so they didn't even come to the event. They only went to the after meets, after parties, and they were in, I hate to say it, but shit boxes, and they were just tearing shit up. And then that's where it comes back to us. So we, at this point, we really don't know. I feel like since we do have this meeting, that there's a chance. I really hope that they look at it that way, because once, I feel like if we can get in that meeting and I can show them who we are, I can walk out of there with my head up high, knowing that I did everything that I could.
Well, exactly. And I think for the community, and I'm getting a lot of comments below, hey, where is this? What happened? Obviously, Lone Star Throwdown, Conroe, Texas. So I would say it's obviously Dino's is pretty much the biggest show. It's the second biggest show. I would say it's the biggest kind of live action show because there's so much moving parts to it. But nonetheless, it's one of the biggest truck shows that we have. And in Conroe, after the actual formal hours, the after parties, the takeovers got out of hand. And from afar, from a guy who has a show and is on the outside looking in on this, I just feel like there's times where we want people to use the branding like LST and social media, and you're like, oh yeah, this is great. And then this is a time where you don't. And it sounds like, I just don't understand how you guys can be held responsible when it's like serving alcohol and you're like, hey, I didn't serve anybody the alcohol. They didn't come into my bar and drink beer here. They went out here. And I'm sure you're coming up with all kinds of notes and you're meeting with people and you're trying to formulate a plan. But at the same time, there's so much good that happens. And I'm interested to see what they say. Obviously, we'll probably get, feedback from you guys and we're going to find out. I also wonder if it's one of those deals where maybe not on Wednesday, for the audience, on Wednesday, they're meeting with the Department of Homeland Security, I believe. But is this a deal where maybe this gets postponed and we just flood Texas and you have 1,000 to 2,000 dudes sitting in a courtroom somewhere and saying, hey, give me a minute to talk, like a council meeting? I mean, because at the end of the day, we have shows, we have regional shows, we have national shows, and we just can't have a few of these dipshits, I'll say it, driving their shit boxes. And we all have seen it on social media. People get killed, people die, and that's what they're trying to shut down. Not a show where people are having a great time, a grand time. Kids are there. It's a family-friendly event, and you're literally, raising your family, going to this stuff, experiencing such a positive thing in an amazing venue, to be taken away.
Yeah, it's not fun sitting in our spot. My big concern is the lawlessness at the meets. You get the police that come over, they tell everybody to leave, and you've got people swarming them. I just fear that at what point is the crowd going to surround an officer, and an officer is going to feel fear for his life and kill somebody? It's really, we are that close to having a major accident happen, and over what? Just if you're being a dumbass, leave. You don't have to intimidate the cops. It's just, I think that's the bigger part that bothers me. Nobody cares what the law says. Everybody's got their phones up. They're all trying to act a fool. They want to get the likes, the follows, all the clicks. I just fear somebody's going to die.
Yeah, and I don't really want to. I don't want to get too far down the wormhole on this, but that's a societal thing where the respect to the law.
Yep.
And you're like, listen, guys, we're here to have a good time. Don't F this up for everybody else. And I'm so I'm looking forward to seeing what they say, and I gotta think.
And we are talking about a small group of people.
Totally.
Like it's so weird, and that's what I hope that we can get across. And for me, for this meeting to actually take place makes me have hope. But it's like at that same level, I want people to know that LST is going to change. I'm going to hold every single person responsible. And I've always prided the people that come to LST, if you see something, sometimes we're not always there. Our officers aren't always there, and people police themselves. People that come to LST want it to be a fun, enjoyable event. You've been many of years. And I know if something would have happened in front of you, you would have been the head honcho that would have been stepping up to, you know, pause it, calm it down to get it to a, um, I'm trying to think of the right word, but a calm the situation down that at the event has run flawlessly. And for it to have these outside with a little bit of people, we really don't know how far this is going to go until our meeting. And it's hard to say because, we can speculate all we want. We may walk into that meeting, they look at us and go, we just want to be better informed of how we could stop this or what we can do to control it. At the end of the day, this high up in this level, they may not, they don't know us personally. So they may think we are like that. We want this type of people at the event, which we walk in and we may shake hands and go to lunch, and that's all there is.
Well, I'm very hopeful for that, and you almost think that, and I assume you guys have that game plan. Is like, listen, I'm almost sad that this has happened to this far, but now we have each other's phone numbers. You've met who the people are who are behind this. This is the community. This is who we are, and we want to help you combat this. No different than any other lawlessness, because it does put a bad smear on the community when the classic truck community, and even the lifted, the lowered, the minis, everybody's the truck community. We're so blessed, and even the car community, we really are. We're blessed. And again, one of the comments on here was, hey, we've all stretched outside the line a little bit with our trucks. And I'm not going to say that I haven't done a burnout when I shouldn't have done a burnout. I'm not going to say that I haven't done something that could have got me probably a ticket. But when you're affecting other people, their community, their property, and other lives, then I do hope it's a little bit of a scare tactic for them. And then they get to utilize us, the community, to say, hey, if you guys don't start policing yourselves, then we're going to start enforcing some stuff. But I do hope, and I think it will. I think it will be that way on Wednesday.
We hope.
That's all we can hope.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I just think that, again, ultimately, you guys have to know how good the show is, what the show has done for so many people. And again, I think, I'll just keep saying it every 5 minutes, but just like Jared said, Lone Star Throwdown at yahoo.com. Send your emails. If it's 2 sentences, if it's a full page, hey, what does LST mean to you? What is the community? And I can't even imagine for you guys to try to put a perspective of the monetary that it brings to the Conroe, to Woodland, to the outside, area of just restaurants, again, heads and beds, and the VRBO community, and just what it brings in for 3 to 4 days. I don't know how many events are doing that over there. Again, I'm not going to the fair in Conroe, but when I do go to LST, it's not. I don't know what's bigger.
Yeah, and like the fair, the bad part about the fair is, the insight that we have on that is when the fair happens, they're local, so they go home to their homes. They don't go out to eat. They, when people come to LST, they're staying in hotels, Airbnbs, they're going to restaurants. And what do we do before we leave to go back home? We fill up our tow pigs with fuel, get snacks for the road. So convenience stores, everything in general. And I think they see that. And that might be one of the reasons why this meeting is.
Yeah,
because they see it.
We got to hit Buc-ee's. Every Buc-ee's has got to be hit at least 2 times. I don't know how Grinder and his podcast is not sponsored by Buc-ee's. So those two, Frank and Brian, both
coming. It's going to be close. They're coming in.
Yeah, well, they're coming to Goodyear. So I think Brian. So for the audience, that's Western Phoenix. It's practically East LA, but they're coming in over there. So I think Grinder had something to do with that. He must have wrote a few letters. Yeah. But you're right. There's an impact to the community that's on the positive. It's not just the negative. So let's just say that from the perspective of 5-10 people, and if they can nip it in the bud now, and we can all self-police a little bit, they can get ahead of it, and it's not something where it gets so out of control. Why did they pin you guys down? Because of the content, and because people, the 3 to 4, had the wristbands, and or their social media posts had some LST
It's the logo.
logos?
It's everybody had like an LST after party, and our name was all over it. So in their eyes, they don't know that we're not sponsoring this, or we're not a part of it. You know, we're not a part. We you know, there's times that we are at the park until wee hours of the morning. Sometimes Jared, he sleeps on a little hospital gurney bed up there. So, you know, we don't leave until, you know, sometimes 1-2 o'clock in the morning. We're back up there at sometimes 5 o'clock. So we're unable to go. I mean, I would love to go out and go to, you know, around town, go eat dinner with people and stuff like that. But, you know, we're unable to do that. But I think in their eyes, when it went outside of the community, because you got to look at it, they went to Shenandoah and to Willis. So they went outside of the city, and then that community wasn't prepared for what was coming into it. And I think that's where maybe this meeting can shed some light on that, and they can get some extra help into that community, because I stand behind them. If someone came to me and said, hey, you know, Ronnie was doing a burnout and went through the flower bed, and then he stole the stop sign, you know, I mean, I would be like, well, good, y'all arrested him. See, there you go. So I would say, good. I mean, you're a grown-ass man.
Does it say Montgomery County on it?
The what?
Yeah, it does. It's a fire station sign right from. You guys don't want to know where that came from. That's
another
as long as it's
time.
I can't be tried twice for a double statutory limitation. What is it? Where I can't be tried twice? Double jeopardy. I can't be tried twice for it, or statute of limitations. It's been too long ago. Well, here let me do a little devil's advocate on this. So, would you say that because, like you said at the beginning, this has gotten to the point where it's gotten bigger than maybe you guys perceived, and it is more work? Would you say that those other like Shenandoah, do they know, like, hey, oh shit, this is LST week? And I'll give you a funny example. Is I used to get so mad because I used to try to cheat the system with the hotels. This will tell you, you know, they used to be 159, and then the second they knew those LST dates,
359,
boom, they just went up. And I'm like, you sons of bitches, right? And I just thought, oh, I could beat them. I can get it before. So what I mean is, people know, and the community knows, but does this mean that you guys need to reach further out? And another example is, we did get a VRBO. Now we're being nice. Airbnb, it was like an hour away. It was the best. I loved it. It was far. We kind of got together after the show. Is that something where, I don't think you need to let VRBO or Airbnb or whatever the hell, but is that where you're like, hey, you know, these other city police chiefs and whoever, like, hey, I just want to let you know, we have these people coming into town. These are the rules that we set forth. And is that something that you guys could do to make it better, so that it might not come back so hard on you?
It may be. I mean, that's what we've got to find out. We want to have the event. We want to make sure that everybody has fun, but we also want to make sure that the community benefits from it and that they don't hate our guts. I mean, right now, they hate our guts.
Well, it's
no
funny.
way.
Years ago,
no way.
We had that.
They can't. Who? I'm telling you, Saltgrass does not hate your guts, because we spend so much damn money at Saltgrass that there's no way Saltgrass hates your guts.
I think we really won't know everything until we get in that meeting and we find out what their thoughts are. Because just like I said before, it may be just something that they want us to be, you know, to include all the commissioners in, and try to figure out a way that we can kind of, you know, control it, so to speak, with that amount of people, because it does bring people in. I mean, a lot of those people, like I said, I was looking in the body cam footage. I mean, 99% of them didn't have a wristband on.
Yeah.
None of them did. And then looking at registrations on trucks, and in their eyes, they're not in it, so they don't know what to look for. They think it's just it has wheels on it, so it's a car show vehicle,
Yeah.
but it's not. It doesn't have a registration on it. It doesn't. So those are some of the things that I have worked with the Kroger's and the J.C. Penney's, is just informing them. And just like I told the guy, I'll tell this little story. So I was working with the Kroger's corporate office, and I told the guy, I said, look, I said, if this doesn't show my good faith, I said, our contract is pulled for 2025. And here I am a week after the show, still helping you, trying to identify people, trying to identify vehicles, names, trying to figure out who stole the stop signs, who stole the mobility cart. If that doesn't show my good faith, that knowing the show's basically taken away from me, but I'm still trying to help. And, I think he saw that in a positive as well. And if we can kind of work through this, I wouldn't want we're all business owners. So I wouldn't want someone coming to my shop and doing a burnout in the parking lot. But I do. We have big iron gates that we close so no one can get on the property. And I'm not saying Kroger is going to have to put big iron gates, but if they did have someone there that could police it and they knew it was coming, north and south of Conroe probably didn't think it was going to go outside of it. And when they did, it's hard to control thousands of vehicles and thousands of people when they're in the parking lot, and a few bad apples. And we all know when one guy does a burnout, second does, it makes the guy that normally doesn't do a burnout. But it's the stealing of signs and just the lawlessness is what really got the attention of outside of the city.
So just some of the comments to address as I kind of listen to Lonnie and I'm trying to kind of read at the same time. They do have police officers at the fairgrounds on site. They have paid officers. It's a very secure. If you haven't seen, I won't even bring up that one. But they have plenty of officers there. The other thing is some people said, what did Gen X do? Meaning, hey, Gen X, all of us. It doesn't matter what Gen X did. It matters whether it's millennials or Gen Z. We're not going to get into that. The bottom line is Gen X is affected because of other people. So it's something that we have to find a solution to nonetheless. And I think that, like you said, the good faith of what you're doing, even though your contract's pulled, and again, it is a primary, hopefully this meeting. The one question I have is why Department of Homeland Security? Why isn't it a local thing? Is it because it's so many different areas, or because these takeovers are just pissing them off?
No, I think the reason why this meeting is this meeting was for some people that were that love us and reached higher up. But the Homeland Security thing, he wears many hats. So he's head of the emergency management team, and he's also the secretary of the judge. So with that being said, he's not just Homeland Security. He wears many hats. So this guy here is the direct, probably would be one of the guys that we could probably, have him sit with us and be a part of the team, that we could bounce stuff back and forth and he could get those things done that need to get done. Almost like an overseer of a lot of different, all the commissioners, all the surrounding law enforcement. Like he probably has the ability to help us out. So it's not, at first did I think it was a scary thing? Yeah, I thought it was a scary thing. But now that I get more insight into it, it's, it just seems like they're hopefully trying to help us just as much as we want to help ourselves.
We hope.
Yeah, good. That's and it sounds like he's going to hopefully have an understanding of the big picture, because really that's what we're looking at right now is the big picture and not just a few people. One of the comments on here said, 15 seconds of fame and some kid who does something dumb at the same point. And it's like, well, that's easy for you to target LST and target the show. but at the same time, it's obviously a frustrating thing that hopefully he's got the best interest of the community and you guys from that perspective when you do go in on
Yeah,
Wednesday.
because there's a lot of people, and I know that me and Todd talked about it a long time ago. And when Todd and I first started this thing, we didn't want it to be where people were talking about, hey, let's have concerts at night. Let's have a concert. And we just want it to be just a car show. It's 8 to 5. We used to do it a little bit later, but now it's like 8 to 5. It takes a lot out of our staff, even on that 8 to 5. And we didn't want to do like burnout pits or none of that other, because so many people are like, hey, why don't you have a burnout pit? Some of these guys wouldn't even come to the event even for the burnout pit. They want to be in these parking lots with, like everybody says, a cell phone pointing at them and get their fame on TikTok or, YouTube videos or whatever they're going to do. We don't want that at the event. I want the event to be like that old school park mentality where the hot rod guy can hang out with the mini trucker, the off-road guy can hang out with the classic truck guy, the rat rod. Like, I want everybody together because, like, Todd and I, when we were kids and we had these mini trucks, these bright, turquoise mini truck with tilt beds and stuff like that, the only shows we had were like these little hot rod shows. So here's these, me and Radar pulling in as these punk kids with tilt beds, and we go to these hot rod shows. But what I always loved about it, that we looked at these hot rod guys on stuff that they did to their cars, and we incorporated it on our mini trucks.
We adopted
just like they didn't make a relocator kit for my Ford Ranger to shave the tailgate. So I saw this C10 that had seat belts welded on the inside of it. So that's what I did. I took that, I put it in a mini truck. People at mini truck shows would see it and go, oh my God, you did? No, I got it from that. And that's what the event started out. We don't want a burnout pit. I don't want none of that stuff. There's other shows with that, and we don't want to. I wouldn't even want to fathom trying to get that another part of the show. I know we do the monster truck at our event, and that was just something that started. And for us, when I saw how many kids, the smiles on their face when they were, when they found out there's a monster truck there, even the year like you just talked about, when it was cold, like it was so cold and raining. Crystal told me, because that was the year I told Crystal, said, I don't want to do this no more. We all have businesses outside of this. Everybody thinks that we just do LST and that's all we do. Yeah. And I'm like, you think I made a living my whole life? So this show is like a child does. And when I told her I don't want to do it no more, it's so much stress. And everybody thinks we're doing snow angels and $20 bills. We make less every year after 2016. But being able to grow the show, make the show safer and everything else, makes me happy. And at the end of it, it's just like Crystal said, when you watch kids wrapped up in blankets, it is freezing cold. It's under 30 degrees. It's sprinkling. It's wet. And these kids got a smile on their face.
Covered in mud, having a ball.
Covered in mud. And then I told Crystal, I was like, and she was like, if that don't make you happy, nothing will.
You're right, though, because those kids will remember that. And it's funny, as I listen to you, that is what makes the car culture community so cool is you can have a baby boomer, a Gen X, and you could even have a millennial and a Gen Z, and they can all talk cars, and the cars makes it better. So I do think that what we might say, LST is the biggest blend show there is, from brodozers to hot rods to minis to classic trucks to everything in between. And I think that is the focus, is realizing that we're not going to let some punk kids take this over. We were all punk kids. I get that. And I'm sure that some baby boomer thought what I was doing was stupid and low. You lowered that truck and you cut that truck, or you did this or you did that, right? Everybody's got an opinion, but when you start affecting other people from the perspective of private property damage, we just can't have that.
And their livelihoods.
Yeah, I did think of something new that you guys should really, maybe sell some shirts, but LST works really good with let's stop takeovers. I don't know if you've thought about that yet, but I'm
Hey,
just saying
that's good.
you might sell T-shirts where it says "Let's stop takeovers," raise a little bit of money, and we'll pad the legal fund. But at the end of the day, it is one of those things where I hope this guy, this secretary of the judge, is a fan, and I would even say as much as for the audience. There's been some negative comments, but I work in public safety, and a lot of the cops that I know, dude, they love trucks. They love old school stuff. They love cool stuff. They love all of it. They just don't like people breaking the law and being disrespectful. And if you think about it, that's even changed over 20 years of what you used to be able to say to a cop, do to property, so on and so forth. So I'm not going to say we're going back to 1990 by any means, but
Well,
cops are fans too.
all the ones that I've talked to so far that that was some of the body cam stuff and stuff like that, the sergeants for them, a lot of them said that they for a few years now they had no problems until it got the destruction of properties of the businesses around there. And he said that they had people meet in parking lots all the time. They'd roll through, roll back out of it. Nothing was happening. But he said this time here, it just got so out of control that they didn't have enough cops to, to flush out the mayhem. And I get it. I mean, when you're doing that stuff to other people's businesses and stuff like that, who wants to pull up at Kroger and look like a burnout pit in the parking lot? I know I wouldn't want to if I own that business. It looks bad, and it also makes us look bad. But he said that when they were patrolling some of the hotels, he did tell me that he loved going to all the hotels and seeing how many groups were outside. He goes, dude, these guys were outside drinking beer, having a good time. We'd pull up. They're like, hey, you're not going to run us off, right? He's like, no, are y'all doing anything? And he's like, he loved seeing all the groups.
Yeah, and what's funny about that is, I truly don't know the laws in Texas, but in Arizona, you can't have open container. These guys could be dicks, they could be hard asses. They don't care. They got way bigger fish to fry, like dumbass kids doing takeovers. But they love that. There's nothing better than seeing a bunch of guys, and it's cool that they're out policing the parking lots. They know, what's going on. Do you think that some of this is that did the cops feel like they were understaffed based upon where the takeovers happened, and that put them on the defensive?
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, and
so how do we fix that?
And I will say this before we go off. I would love to take the opportunity to tell everyone that's watching this or watches it later on or whenever they see it. Man, I can't say thank you to enough people that have reached out to us, that seeing the amount of people that wants LST and wants it to happen and has a good time, that's probably the most probably humbling thing for me. I mean, it gives me chill bumps right now, just, seeing the amount of people that support us and back us and don't want the event to go anywhere. I mean, I'd love to see it go on. I've always told Radar that one day LST will end, but I don't want it to end like this. This isn't the way that I dreamed that it would end. I always told the boys, and they will back me up on this. I said, it's going to end with us three sitting there with our trucks and no one shows up. So when no one shows up, we just don't do it no more.
Dude, that might be the best show. The funny thing about that is when you go backwards to the smaller shows, people will want to be there more than ever. So be careful what you ask for there. That might be the rewind of you think about the old school when you just sit around. And that is, again, why we love the parking lot party. The parking lot party becomes one of the best things, is where you go from the bigger group, and you're seeing everybody, you're checking everything out, and then you get back to the house, to the hotel, to the rental. Some of the best times you'll ever have in your life for the audience, if whether it's LST or a show out east or a show out west, whatever it might be, that is that's what life is all about. You're breaking bread with your brothers. You're bitching and moaning about your truck and how you stayed up, and your wife and your girlfriend and the kids and this and that, and so many problems are solved at truck shows and car shows. It's just ironic.
That's true.
Definitely.
Yeah. So stop.
I'm seeing a lot of comments about turning the monster truck area into burnout pit. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, nobody wants that. And again, at the same time, it's one of those things where, like you said, it's like one thing leads to another, and another thing leads to another, and
it's gotten so big. It's just like I will go back to this when we used to have the dyno, and you probably remember the years with the dyno in there. The problem is all of these people that wanted to do the dyno didn't have registrations, and they just wanted to come in. It's like the show has gotten so big now that I have to, every vehicle, anything in that park has to have basically a registration sticker. I have to have a number. I have to have their contact information. I need to know who drives that vehicle, who operates it, who owns that vehicle, everything about that, phone number, an email. And it's hard when you have, like, if they want a burnout pit, how do I police? What if there's 200 cars that want to do a burnout? How do I get them in the show? How do I get them around? If you've been in LST, it is, especially Saturday from 10 to 2 o'clock, you're not doing nothing around that park.
Around at all.
Yeah, believe me,
we
I've
can't
tried.
get around on our golf carts.
We have to go out to the roadways outside the park to get in, to get to whatever problem we're having to solve.
And that's why we ended up, if you notice, that's why all our EMTs now, if you look, they're on bicycles. They're on bicycles because they can get there faster, because if they can't get there on a cart or one of their vehicles, they got to get a guy to get there on a bicycle first to stabilize the person and whatever they have to do, and then the golf cart and then the vehicle can show up. And we've all seen it. I mean, me and the boys have been firsthand with, we've had people, pass out. Sometimes, it's like going back to the weather thing. I tell everyone, you can have a heat wave on Friday, cold front, freezing rain on Saturday, and springtime on Sunday. Like, you can have three different. It's Texas. It doesn't know.
Or a canoe ride.
Hey, I'm just saying, the canoe ride was epic. But that, you're right.
It gave me anxiety. I still dream about that damn thing. Now it's funny, but it wasn't funny when you did it.
Hey, I wouldn't listen. I think Lonnie and Jared said I can't bring the canoe ever again. But you brought up the canoe ride, and I'll tell you, I get a little bit of a pass because I have really good video of a septic guy pumping out my there was toilet
literal
paper,
river of shit running through your boot.
Toilet paper coming up. It for the audience, if you think about Cousin Eddie, I'll leave it at that. But this dude's smoking. He's freaking just pumping shit right out of the freaking manhole cover. And it was just, I'm like, I think I called Jared. I'm like, hey, dude, I've got 8 sheets of plywood here, and my feet just smell like shit. I don't know what's going on. I turn around, and there's the manhole cover. So I get a pass on the canoe. I'm just saying.
Absolutely do.
Oh, my God.
You get a pass for life.
The picture is going to live on forever.
I've got a few. I've got the video and the picture. So what about classic truck throwdown? Is that affected at all? And is that something that you guys still have to discuss?
No, it's safe for now is what they told us. I mean, the demographic around that show's a lot different, obviously. 25 years and older trucks. For this year, it'll be 1999 and older. Smaller, obviously. Second year show. We hope to grow it. Will it ever become a LST size? Who knows? But, it's just going to be a little bit different feel. And it's not affected right now. And that's, thankfully, we only have to worry about one show.
Will that be one of those things where you guys have already, I mean, obviously, hopefully they let you talk, but is that something where you could even add that to it too? It's like, listen, we have a second show. It's been successful. Here's what we're doing. Again, back to the community, back to the demographic and what you have going on there. I just think that would be another case to really help LST is, the second show.
Well, we can hope so. I mean, we think that we do good by the community. We think that we do good by the venue. And, it's not like we're just a bunch of hoodlums that want to whisk in there and take everybody's money and run off. We try to do good things, and we try to show them that. And, I mean, hopefully this meeting Wednesday, we can prove to the higher-ups that don't know who we are and what we're about.
Yeah. Somebody just commented. I thought it was kind of funny. CTT is at the same place as LST. Absolutely. We got that. For the audience, a second show, Classic Truck Throwdown. There you go. same spot. So my question is whether or not the county, the location, the fairgrounds, and Department of Homeland Security has a problem with it. So obviously that's safe. That's a good thing.
No, that's what we made sure when we went in there to put in the keys that, because, that show's coming up. So it's like, that was our main concern because we have money invested in that already. So it's like, what does that show for, what's the contract look like on that? Because we've already signed it. It's already been paid for. So it's like, what are we going to do with that? And they said, no, it doesn't affect classic truck throwdown. So it gave us, it made us at ease for that.
How far was your contract for LST? Is that a yearly contract?
Yeah,
is that
we do. We have dates for 10 years, but the contract is yearly. So we already have our dates, and what we do is when we go back into the office, we just ink in our dates. So all our dates are penciled in. We're the weekend behind the swap meet that they have out there. So it always dictates where his show lines up. And when we go in there, we ink in the contract and we sign it. So that's one of the things that when we went in there to ink the contract, it was
contract
pulled from us, and it's like you got to, you have to speak with these gentlemen before you can get the contract. So,
would that be something that let's? I don't think this is going to happen, but I think having you here, I should ask it. But let's say that they come back and they're just being complete dickheads. Is that something? Would you shut it down, or would you look for another venue?
It's hard. I hate to go there. I would do everything that I can to try to save LST, but I feel like it just kills the vibe. LST is at that fairgrounds. I hate to say that, but it is. It's just it started there, it grew there. We know the ins and outs of that place, and starting over, and I'm not sure that, if that would even be something that we could all stomach. But I can't really say for sure, but I feel like we would try, but I couldn't guarantee that we could go somewhere else because I feel like it would be a headache to try to go to another venue and have the crowd that we have for LST and to try to police it, to figure out the flow. I just don't know how it would work. And
I saw somebody
really would hate to think about it.
I just saw somebody say have it at Kroger. So
they had a pretty good show, you got to admit. I mean, it was impressive the amount of people that were at Kroger. I got to hand it to them. If they hadn't been acting like jackasses, it might have been okay, but it was an impressive turnout.
Hopefully they're buying some stuff. Obviously the hours at Kroger, but you guys can have a lot of fun with that with Kroger. You could go there, you could support them, you could hey guys, this is just, I don't want a bad taste in your mouth from what happened here, and really smooch them over. Again, that's not going to mean that your people, the people you meet with are going to change their minds, but at the end of the day, they're
because some of these community leaders, I get their mentality, and they look at it as LST is the snake's head.
Yeah.
And if they cut off the snake's head, they don't have to worry about the snake anymore.
Which we all know is not logical thinking, but we get it.
But
we totally
will it stop all meets from happening
not at all
in that area? No. But the amount of people at that meet, they're there because of LST.
Yeah, I think we'll do the shirt with let's stop takeovers, and then the Kroger store will be in the background. I don't know about having a headless snake. I think we have the snake there with maybe Radar. I think Radar's head is the face.
We need
the snake.
Sponsored by Pin Talk. We'll put that at the top.
We need to get Brant working on that this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can get you guys going on that, and I do think people would like that. I'm going to make a post that says let's stop takeovers to push and promote this, but I think that I just think that there's going to be a good thing that happens from a negative here. It's just there's just no way. Thankfully, nobody was killed. Some property damage happened, but the biggest picture is what you're doing with the community, and again, like you said, the maybe some of these bigwigs who don't like what's going on, they can't. The only reason they don't like it is they can't control it. And I think being positive, being good in the community, spending our money, filling up our trucks, getting beds and heads in beds, and again, going out to dinner and just having a great time is really what it's all about. And I just hope they see that.
I do too.
Same.
Yeah, so do we.
Radar, anything else? You've been the most quiet tonight. What's the latest Dodge? What do you got going on? What's the latest?
Leaking.
He's working on a Lincoln?
It's blow by.
Do you have
Oh, yeah.
that sometimes you question like why you're friends with them?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you got it made. I think
Then you be business partners with them, and you're really questioning what the hell you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, what are you gonna do now?
Yeah, you know what they say,
Dodge boy.
right? You can pick your friends, you can't pick your family. So I think you're stuck.
I have to somewhere, but it's all right.
Yeah, I think you're stuck. So no, honestly, I think Classic Truck Throwdown is June 29th and 30th.
30th. Yep.
Same location. Obviously, it's going to be a Friday, Saturday show.
Saturday and Sunday.
Saturday and Sunday. And I think that that's another thing where, let's just say they put you guys on parole, because that's might be what they do. They might put you on parole, give you 2 years, and say, listen. But I think once CTT comes around, it's like, hey guys, we're doing what we can do in the community, and hopefully the community, from this to everybody that goes to LST, can say, listen, you guys, quit being jackasses and let's self-police, because there's nobody better that's going to be able to handle this than self-policing. Nobody can expect the 3 of you or the 15 cops or the 10 EMTs. It doesn't matter. We can't stop it, but we can stop it, but we can't hold you accountable for some jackass at Kroger, or somebody you're at home having a beer, having a good time after an exhausting day. I still think holding certain people accountable, it's not right.
No, we were probably still at the park picking up trash or filling up generators when all this crap was happening. So can't even really blame us. Or maybe we were looking for a candy bacon sandwich from Todd Scott. Who knows?
Yeah. I like that. Candy bacon sandwiches for everybody. Let's stop takeovers and let's continue, because we want, that 20-year anniversary of LST. We want that 25-year. And honestly, someday I hope it's just the 3 of you, and I want to be there hanging out, because when it gets that small and you're sitting at the fairgrounds, you're looking back and you're like, hey, it was a really good ride. And that is what it's all about, is those rides and that journey. And so many different people, I'm sure you've heard me say it on so many different pods that I've done, especially covering LST, but you guys are in the rainbow of truck shows, because you get so many people you get them from the East, you get them from the West. And it's one of those things where when you look at where you're at, the demographic of so many rad trucks, rad people, you bring in community, you bring in the East, the West, the North, everybody comes down, and it just really brings it all together. And you have a little bit of a responsibility to try to keep it going, to be honest with you.
We know we have a responsibility,
Yeah.
and trust me, we're not going to go down without a fight. We just got to really know what we're fighting against right now. This is our baby, and we're not going to turn it loose quick.
So, again, for the audience, Lone Star Throwdown at yahoo.com. And then one thing I did notice is there wasn't a lot on your guys' LST social media. Is this something where you would post after on Wednesday?
Yeah.
Good, bad, ugly.
I'll post it on both our Instagram and our Facebook. I just, I don't have anything to post, and that's where I don't want to go too far into it. I don't want to, because we really don't know anything. We just know because so many people's reached out to us and it's like, is LST canceled? LST 25. And I was like, I don't know. All I know is we do not have a contract for 25. So if you right this second told me that you wanted to do something for LST 25, I tell you that I can't do anything until the meeting. I mean, until I get a contract and I post, because usually right after the show, I always post our LST 25 logo. Like the next year's logo, I post right up. I haven't been able to because I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I don't want to leave anybody hanging. I don't want to, because a lot of people don't understand. We start the 25 or the next year right after the show. Like it takes a year. We don't just show up that right before the show and say, okay, we're going to have a show. There's many wheels, many bearings, things that need to be greased and oiled and everything else, tightened and loosened. And
Script.
yeah, radar has to get porta potties and golf carts.
Yeah, don't forget the
You know,
porta potties.
you could do a hat that says "Make LST Great Again." Somebody brought that up, and then we get the "Let's Stop Burnout." So we got all kinds of great ideas, but again, we still need the show to happen. So good luck on Wednesday. We'll be sitting there, kind of kicking back and waiting to hear. And then again, for the audience, if you can shoot those emails over, I would highly suggest it. Lone Star Throwdown at yahoo.com.
Right.
Shoot your email over. If you've got a business, a letterhead, it probably goes a little bit more. They're probably not going to end up looking through 500 of them, but hell, I don't not put it together because you don't think it will get looked at. I'd rather it be in that manila folder that they take down there and say, listen, here's the people that are supporting it. Take your time, read through them. These are pillars in our community. These are people that come out. These are people that have businesses, people that come to have a good time. And what we built here isn't negative because of these jackasses.
If anything this week, we have learned just how much the community cares about us. I mean, some of the letters, some of the emails, some of the phone calls that we've gotten make us feel pretty good. It's a really shitty week for us, but we have to look at these letters. We have to look at these comments that people make and think, we're doing okay.
Yeah,
we're doing the right thing.
Yeah, I hope Phil Built can make a Kroger award. I don't know what I'm sure you guys can come up with something. Kroger's best.
Kroger's pick.
Kroger's produce pick of the show or something. Maybe get the general manager of that store over and let him pick one and get. Maybe Phil Built needs to make him a little award for best remote site contributor to LST 2025. And they probably think that was pretty funny. But
let's try to
see how
get
things go Wednesday
first.
I know. Yeah. Let's see how things go on Wednesday. Okay. Anything else that you guys might have? Anything to add?
Wish us luck.
Okay. We do wish you luck. I think you're going to get a flood of emails. I hope that you do. And I appreciate your time. And I love the show. And I can't wait to salute you and probably drink a successful beer because I think it's going to be positive. There might be a little bit of slap on the hand of probation, but I think these guys are just idiots if they completely shut this down just based on this. So we could tighten things up. The community can self-police and really look at each other and say, listen, we don't want to lose this. So what can we do to help this? And hopefully even these kids, let's assume, I don't want to call them kids. The people who were doing stupid shit, hopefully they're a little remorseful and they could say, hey, listen, I don't want to do that again.
Yep. Hey, thanks for putting this together and getting our rear ends on here. I know we're scared shitless to do it, but thank you.
Yeah, well, I'm just happy that I was finally, after 13 years
you're
of wanting to be on C10 Talk, I'm finally on here. I've made it. If we don't do anything, I have made it onto Ronnie's.
Yep. Putting the Ford guy on a Chevy thing is sacrilegious, but I tell you what, just like I've got my favorite picture of schlong bed and orange slice together. Sometimes they just make beautiful music together. So that's what it's all about. Radar was thinking, why am I friends with these guys? I don't even know what I got into here.
Dodge guy.
He is a Dodge guy.
Hey, we got to have somebody that's got something to tow us home with.
A couple times you came in and out. You got to pay that Cricket Wireless, Radar. You got to pay that bill. I'm telling you.
Out here, I don't know what you're talking about. Might be your dodgy podcast you got going, buddy.
I need to pay the C10 Talk Wireless bill.
Thanks for having me.
Oh,
we appreciate
all right.
it.
Yeah, I do appreciate your time, and let's see what happens on Wednesday for the audience. I'll take you out with that. Thanks, guys.
Thank
you.
Late.
Late.